Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure being here with you today. Behind me is a picture of last year's CNA conference, the one that Mark alluded to, where my two counterparts from the UK and US, Adrian Calby and Christine Svinicki, joined me on the stage for us to share our perspectives on new nuclear and the role of regulators. And we had so much fun. And I think the audience enjoyed our session as well. So we have been asked for a repeat performance or a similar performance at the 2020 WIN Global Conference that WIN Canada is hosting in Niagara Falls from October 4th to the 8th this year. And I hope to see most of you there for that event. Today, I'm delighted to join Tom Mitchell and Mark Sutcliffe later for a fireside chat after our presentations. And although we have different mandates, the World Association of Nuclear Operators and nuclear regulators share a crucial mission, working with skill and dedication to ensure worker and public safety. I will cover two areas in my remarks today. First, I will focus on what the CNSC is doing to promote the international harmonization of regulatory requirements for advanced and small modular reactors. Second, I will share a few thoughts on the importance of building and maintaining public confidence and trust in a time of new challenges and new opportunities. Navigating this bold new future will require the best of all of us, and time is of the essence, because the SMR journey has already begun, including right here in Canada. As we heard from the Minister, the publication of the 2018 Pan-Canadian SMR Roadmap, the collaboration between New Brunswick, Ontario, and Saskatchewan to develop a strategy for the deployment of SMRs, and the CNSC's ongoing environmental assessment for a 15 thermal megawatt microreactor on the Chalk River Laboratory site all point to a potentially disruptive, perhaps even transformative future just around the corner. A changing world also demands new perspectives and responses. Safety is our first and last concern. It's our touchstone. However, I strongly believe we also need a regulatory strategy to encourage greater collaboration and harmonization, which is something I have been advocating strongly, especially over the last 6 months. We took a very important step last August when I signed a memorandum of cooperation with the chairman of the US NRC. This agreement will guide our work on advanced and small modular reactors. In fact, we're already making good progress together. We've agreed to share regulatory insights from technical design reviews, starting with NuScale and terrestrial energy technologies. We are also looking at developing common guidance for reviewing new build license applications. But it's not just the US. We're likewise involved with the UK's nuclear regulator on SMRs and advanced reactors, and welcome a similar arrangement with the UK's nuclear regulator within the next few months. It makes sense for us to share our analysis, testing, modeling, and research. Others can learn from us, and we can learn from others. We can save time, we can avoid pointless duplication. And in so doing, we can help to encourage both innovation and modern regulation, all while remaining squarely focused on the imperative of safety. We all want to get this right. Working together will help us achieve this goal. It is my hope that cooperative undertakings like this will demonstrate to other nuclear regulators the benefits of close collaboration, and perhaps set the stage for progress toward a harmonization of regulatory requirements like we see in the aviation industry. In fact, there is already a degree of harmonization in the nuclear regulatory community on nuclear substances transport regulations and licensing and certification of transportation packages. With that goal in mind, I was very pleased to hear from Director General Bill Magwood that the Nuclear Energy Agency has agreed to look at different models for greater regulatory cooperation on SMRs. And I know the World Nuclear Association and the CANDU Owners Group are finalizing a white paper on how the goal of a worldwide nuclear regulatory environment where internationally accepted standardized reactor designs can be widely deployed without major design changes at the national level can be achieved. I very much look forward to this white paper. I want to be absolutely clear. Regulatory sovereignty is essential. We must and we will always answer to Canadians and their leaders. But I believe it is in our interest and in the interest of Canadians to seek out greater harmonization of requirements amongst regulators around the world. If we are successful, we will establish a foundation for embarking nuclear countries, a roadmap for them to follow as they develop their own regulatory systems focused on safety. Much will be required and expected of us as we navigate this future. In order for regulators to make progress on harmonization, industry will need to seriously consider how many technology designs are sustainable and then work toward a common set of codes and standards. For regulators, it means demonstrating that we are not a barrier to innovation and advancement, that our role as a science-based organization is to protect the public from risk, not from progress. I think the time is now to think boldly and look critically at regulatory frameworks and be open to the need to re-engineer them. It may be time for a paradigm shift in the regulatory space. SMRs will be first-of-kind projects. The public will rightfully expect and demand that they be demonstrated to be safe. Any misstep on the part of industry or by us as the regulator will likely cause public support to quickly evaporate. Which brings me to my second topic, building and sustaining public confidence and trust in the regulator. More than any other industry, nuclear relies on building and maintaining relationship of trust with Canadians, including Indigenous communities. People need to be confident that nuclear facilities are operating safely and are well protected in the event of the unexpected. So let's talk about the recent false alert at Pickering, because it teaches us an essential lesson. It can take years to build trust and confidence, and a split second to lose it. When it comes to nuclear power, there is no room for error. Not on design, not on safety, and not on how we communicate with the public. The responses to that alert were far too slow on all sides, including ours at the CNSC. Public trust and confidence was clearly, undeniably, and rightfully diminished. Our shared task now is understand what went wrong, learn from it, make the changes required to ensure it never happens again. We at the CNSC are conducting a thorough review, so is the province of Ontario. I understand the province's investigation report is being tabled today. We all need to make it a priority to learn from this incident and to tell the public how we're going to do better. Now, with the topics of trust and confidence in mind, I'd like to share with you some of the results of a recent public opinion survey we commissioned from Nanos Research. I must admit, I had a lot of trepidation in commissioning this survey, which was a first for the CNSC, and especially considering the data was being collected 2 weeks after the Pickering Falls alert. So the two key elements to this research, the first was interviews with key stakeholders, and the second, a general population survey, which was administered to over 1,000 Canadians. We just got the report last week, but today I want to focus on the big picture takeaways from this survey. The first thing I would note is the consistency in responses across the country, even though major nuclear facilities are located in just a few provinces, and this came as a bit of a surprise. Secondly, across all categories of stakeholders interviewed, be it nuclear host community mayors, Indigenous group leaders, members of civil society organizations, and industry leaders, they all expressed high confidence in the CNSC's professionalism and in our ability to execute our nuclear safety mandate, giving us scores greater than 8 out of 10. This is very reassuring to me and should be to you as well. As you can see in the slide behind me, the level of awareness of the CNSC as Canada's nuclear regulator is middling at best, and this does not come as a great surprise. For those Canadians who are aware of us, around a quarter are completely positive, and only about 5% are completely negative. There is an untapped 50% right in the middle who are neutral and potentially open to learning more and reaching their own conclusions on whether we are an effective, independent, competent, and trustworthy regulator. Up next, we see a mixed message between confidence in nuclear regulation writ large and the regulator's independence from industry. I find it encouraging that 83% of the public has confidence in the government to ensure safe regulation of what is for many still a loaded term, nuclear. This result gives me hope that if we communicate and engage with the public and communities in ways that resonate with them, we can build or reinforce confidence in the oversight of the nuclear sector. At the same time, a moderate 62% of respondents have confidence in us to maintain our independence from industry. This suggests that we have to do more to inform, remind, or demonstrate to Canadians of our independence and make clear that our interactions with industry are always in the interest of ensuring safety. Finally, we see that more than 80% of Canadians want to get involved in nuclear-related decisions in their communities. A full 40% say they want to be highly involved. By way of contrast, only 20% of respondents have complete confidence in our efforts to consult communities. So, what do we take away from this data? First, the message is clear. We need to do more to establish and strengthen relationships. I have already had the opportunity during my 18 months as president to start building stronger relationships with Indigenous communities, environmental, non-governmental organizations, industry, and other stakeholders. Strengthening these relationships will continue to be one of my top priorities. Second, we need to redouble our efforts to become the trusted go-to source for the public for all things nuclear. We already hold public community meetings and webinars. We ensure that our commission proceedings are open and transparent, And through our participant funding program, we provide financial support to increase participation in our regulatory and licensing processes. Clearly, this is not enough. We need to do more, and we are determined to do so. Lastly, we need to consider changes to when and how we consult with the public, with Indigenous groups, and with others. We are contemplating important reforms to the Commission's processes and proceedings to make participation even more accessible and meaningful. So stay tuned for our future plans on this important topic. Overall, I'm encouraged by the results of the survey. They will help to guide our work and monitor our progress. We are an organization focused on continuous improvement. We have an unflinching commitment to safety, and we are committed to finding ways, meaningful ways, not just window dressing, to increase the confidence and trust in the regulator in the years ahead. In closing, I have worked in the nuclear sector for more than 3 decades. I am proud of its past, but I am even more energized and excited about the future, the opportunities that await, and the potential that is yet to be achieved. We are at a crossroads in the evolution of our sector. There is much work to do to ensure we navigate it smartly and safely, especially in terms of innovation, collaboration, harmonization, and trust building. At the CNSC, we are taking the lead, and I hope you will join us. Thank you.